A verdict has been reached in the high-profile M trial of Issiah Ross out of North Carolina. This case began back in September 2022 with two missing teenagers. Ross was accused of unaliving 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark. Ross was 17 at the time, but he was tried as an adult. Let's recap some key moments in the trial that led up to the verdict.
Hi, I'm Nikki Lynn, and welcome to Nikki Lynn Investigates, where I break down true crime cases, past and present, provide you with updates on cases that shook our communities to its core. Follow along as we delve into current events, breaking news, and criminal trials with facts, context, and clarity, all while applying legal principles. Are you ready to take a closer look?
This video may contain copyrighted material. The copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976 allows for fair uses for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. This video is intended for educational, entertainment, and commentary purposes. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute.
This case started when two teens went missing, 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark. Lyric Woods was a 14-year-old freshman at Cedar Ridge High School. She was reported missing between September the 16th through the 17th, 2022, from her home in North Carolina. Lyric's mother, Elizabeth Canada, stated it didn't take long for her to realize something wasn't right when her daughter didn't come home that night. She told her husband to call 911 right away because it's not like her to worry me. It's the last thing she would want to do, she said. Devin Clark was an 18-year-old student who attended Eastern Elements High School in Melbourne, where he played football. According to family members, Devin Clark and Lyric Woods were good friends. Devin's father, Dexter, thought he was out with his friends. According to Dexter Clark, he reported Devin missing maybe a day or two later because he didn't think it was out of the ordinary for Devin to be gone at first. That was until his friends all started popping up. Issiah Ross also attended Eastern Elements High School, but according to Clark's mother, he and Clark barely knew one another because Ross had only attended Eastern Elements a few days before the teens went missing. Initially, when the two teens were reported missing, authorities were unaware that the two cases were connected. That all changed on September 18, 2022, when two bodies were discovered by ATV riders in a remote wooded area off Buckhorn Road in Orange County, North Carolina. Per the investigation, cell phone data would detail how all three teens eventually would end up together. Snapchat messages between Lyric and Devin would show how they made plans to meet up late that night. The investigation showed Snapchat messages between Lyric and Devin, where she gave him her address and told him how to pick her up undetected. Another string of Snapchat messages shows Devin in a group chat with about 11 other people where he asks if he could borrow a ride and offers free buns, meaning he expects Lyric to provide sexual favors. Issiah Ross' own testimony would indicate he agreed to give Devin a ride, which is how he ended up with Lyric and Devin that night. So what happens next? Prosecutors details Issiah Ross unalive Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. Issiah Ross stated it was a matter of self-defense, whereas Devin Clark unalived Lyric Woods first, and then he had to fight for his life, whereas he then unalived Devin Clark. Either way, Ross would flee to Delaware on September 18th, the same day Lyric and Devin's bodies were found. but 18 days later, he would be taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of M in the first degree. Back in North Carolina, investigators received an anonymous tip claiming Ross confessed to the crimes. This witness, Christian Sykes, also testified in court to the same. Let's take a look, courtesy of WRAL News.
The most startling testimony came from a witness who was here this afternoon. He says Issiah Ross confessed to him. A story shared via a Snapchat video call.
Because honestly and truthfully, I didn't believe it. It just sounded crazy.
Christian Sykes testified in Orange County Court, recalling a conversation with Issiah Ross over video. Sykes says Ross told him he had killed Devin Clark and Lyric Woods. He testified that Ross explained Clark was playing with a gun, pointing its beam at him.
And he told him to stop. And he said the third time he went for the gun. They wrestled for the gun. And I don't remember exactly if he said the gun went off, but I do know he said that he shot them and dumped the bodies.
The prosecutor also played a 2022 recording of Sykes speaking with law enforcement when he first told them about Ross.
He got the gun from him, and then he said he shot him. And then he said that the white girl, well, he didn't say white girl, but he said the girl that was in the back seat, he said she saw everything, so I turned around and I shot her.
Prosecutors also showed surveillance video of Ross driving a white car at a gas station about 2 miles away from the murder scene.
Another key takeaway from the trial, the pow-pow used belonged to Devin's father, Dexter Clark. He stated he realized the pow-pow was missing only after he realized his son was missing days later. Issiah Ross would take the stand in his own defense. He claims he had to defend himself against Clark after Clark unalived Lyric Woods. The reason? He stated Clark and Woods had relations in the back seat, but they began to argue once Woods realized Clark intended to offer her up. Eventually, Clark would unalive Woods and then turn the pow-pow on Ross, which is when Ross stated he had to defend himself. Let's listen to some of his testimony.
Yeah. In that early morning or night of the 17th, you were invited out by Devin. Is that fair to say?
Objection, leading.
Who invited you out on the 17th?
I was invited by Devin Clark.
Okay. Who brought the firearm that night?
Devin Clark.
Okay. When you got out the car at Buckhorn Road, who shot Lyric Woods?
Devin Clark shot Lyric Woods.
And after he did that, what did he do to you?
He came over to me with the gun, pointed it at me, and said that I knew what time it was, which would mean he's about to kill me.
Objection.
He was about to kill me.
Hold on.
I'm going to overrule it. It's his perception of you. That's making him mistrust.
He was going to kill me, and I had no other choice. It was a life or death situation. If I would have sat there, I would have been dead. And whether or not, I'm sorry, I was about to speculate again, I guess.
That's fine.
You can talk about your perception of what you perceive. Right. That's all right. You can't speculate as to what other people are thinking, okay?
I would have died.
Thank you.
I would have died. If I had sat there and let him do what he was going to do, I wouldn't be here speaking to you guys right now.
One moment, Judge.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to keep speaking?
Yeah.
No further questions, Judge.
The next clip is the cross-examination of Ross from the prosecution. And just to be clear, she's reading statements given by Ross previously, either through deposition or in court.
To the area where their bodies were ultimately found, is that right?
That sounds about proper, yes.
And you got out of the car, is that right?
I did get out of the car.
And you were using Devin's vape pen at the time, right?
Yes, that's correct.
They remained inside the car at that time.
Well, not necessarily. When I had gotten out of the car, Devin also gotten out of the car, and that was to transfer to the back seat where Lyric was.
Yesterday you testified that you didn't see that happen, but you thought you heard a car door open, is that right?
Yeah, we pretty much got out at the same time. After he handed me the pen, we both got out, and yeah.
Did you see it or not?
I didn't watch him get out of the car because I was getting out of the car myself.
And so you waited some distance away from the vehicle while they presumably had sex. Is that right?
That's correct.
And you were on your phone at that time?
Don't really recall. I'm pretty sure. I had my phone. I had just been scrolling on my phone using the vape pen.
Then you saw Lyric get out of the driver's side rear door and Devin get out immediately behind her?
I'm sorry, you said driver's side rear door. That's the back left. Yes, that sounds about proper, yes.
And you believed that they were arguing. Is that right?
Well, before they had gotten out of the car, there were muffled sounds. It sounded like not normal voice level, but once the door opened, I could hear better. They were arguing.
After Devin shot Lyric, he approached you and asked you if you were ready to go. Is that right?
He asked me if I was ready to go and if I would be quiet about him killing Lyric. And I said, heck nah, like, this is your crap. Deal with it. I'm gonna leave. You can deal with this on your own.
And so then he pointed the gun at you?
Yes.
And you lunged for it and also attempted to headbutt him at the same time?
Yes.
And then you got control of the gun and started shooting Devin, is that right?
Yes.
And Devin started moving away from you toward where Lyric fell, is that right?
Well, the shots that I fired were pretty rapid. It wasn't just like a boom, boom, like that. I just fired the gun. He turned, and he fell a short distance away. I didn't shoot him anymore.
So could you see whether he was facing you or facing away from you when you were shooting?
Yeah. It seems like when I had first gotten control of the gun, after he had punched me right here, as soon as the barrel looked like it was turned towards him, I started firing the shots. I couldn't really see if I was hitting any of them or not. But yeah, it was pretty dark outside, and I don't really have the best vision, so.
Okay, and then he fell face down on the ground, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And
The autopsy reports done on both Woods and Clark would reveal that both were pow-powed multiple times from behind. Lyric was pow-powed 7 times, twice in her back, twice in her neck, twice in her arm, and once in her hand. The medical examiner states she was pow-powed at close range because she had burn marks on her face. Devin had a total of 6 wounds, 1 in his neck, 1 that entered his back and passed through his shoulder, 1 to the back of the head and passed through the right neck and cheek, 1 to his right buttock, 1 to his left foot, and another to the right shoulder area. So Issiah Ross was charged with 2 counts of first-degree M in the unaliving of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark. And now the jury has reached their verdict. On January 29th, a partial verdict was reached in the double M trial of Issiah Ross. Ross was found guilty of M in the 2nd degree for the unaliving of Devin Clark. A verdict could not be reached in the case of Lyric Woods, and the prosecution and defense, with the judge's consent, agreed to a mistrial. The prosecution will make a determination whether to try Ross again. Judge Stephanie Reese sentenced Ross to a minimum of at least 240 months, but no more than 300 months, so that's 20 to 25 years. She also gave him credit for time previously served. He was detained at the age of 17, no bond, and he's 21 right now. She also ordered a psychological evaluation. With the credit given for time he already served, Ross could be eligible for release as early as age 38. And finally, Ross has a juvenile history that could not come into record because of his age. Also, although he was a juvenile at the time of the crimes, subsequently he ended up being charged as an adult and was moved to an adult facility. Because of Ross' age at the time of the crimes, his name and picture could not be disseminated in the public, and that has since changed. A new law has been created called Lyric and Devin's Law, and it passed in North Carolina, Bill number 186 in 2023, which allows law enforcement, with judicial approval, to publicly release the names and photographs of juveniles aged 10 or older who are wanted for serious felonies, addressing previous restrictions that would delay finding the suspects. This has been another episode of Nikki Lynn Investigates. Please continue to like, comment, share, and subscribe.